for the first time in history, it's possible to completely eliminate privacy. It was just never possible before, and it is possible now. Something fundamental has changed. I mean, dictators always dreamt about completely eliminating privacy, monitoring everybody all the time and knowing everything you do, and not just everything you do, but even everything you think and everything you feel. Whether it's a tyrant in ancient Greece or whether it's Stalin, they always dreamt about it. They could never do it because it was technically impossible. Now it's possible.
Welcome to the Crypto Teacher. And guys, I come back with that video just to make you think. And with this new digital economy, the NWO wants all your privacy. And we know blockchain gives them the all-seeing eye. And the metaverse allows them to download you. And we keep hearing about these over-leveraged companies. But guys, why were they over-leveraged? That's right, the Fed was giving out all this free money. And we saw hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars in the bull market come over to crypto. And we know the reason why, the fourth industrial revolution. They're not going to tell you, but we know where they're building. A new global digital economy where the robots, algorithms, and drones take it over. But first, guys, they have to destroy this legacy market. How do you destroy something? Create the problem, wait for the reaction, and run in with your solution. And also use the Hegelian dialectic. The SEC is not doing anything. What's that's going to happen? No trust. But we know Gary Gensler knows all about crypto. He could have easily put in regulation when he first came. But guys, we know regulation is going to be global. They're going to use the RICO Act to get rid of some of the bad players. They're not getting rid of the banks. The banks just pay a small fine. I've done several videos on that. We know the banks are the biggest what? I'm going to let you finish that. They will go after a few employees that give you that illusion. Somebody who was only taking orders. But remember, the crypto teacher told you they have to destroy America to Babylon, along with the United States world reserve currency, in order to give China the dragon the ride. With that digital yuan backed by that digital SDR, and remember, the crypto teacher told you because he knows. When it comes to the New World Order, it's all planned out. You have a wonderful day.
What does Bitcoin, what do these other cryptocurrencies have to prove out as their usability case going forward, if not appreciation?
Well, all the leverage games have definitely made Bitcoin and other cryptos trade like high beta tech stocks, to your point, in this last cycle. But that's not the reality. The reality is that Bitcoin itself is a store of value. It is an alternative. It is a monetary instrument that is not issued by a counterparty. And the mistakes that so many in the crypto industry did in the last few years, of which I was quite critical, are to turn this counterparty-less monetary token into something that needed counterparties, and it doesn't. And a good riddance to all of these companies that were the proverbial Icaruses flying too close to the sun. They got burned. Let's flush this leverage and go back to the ethos of what Satoshi Nakamoto designed for the industry, which is leverage-less transactions. And that's what Custodia Bank is built for.
But do we, in an ironic sort of way, need regulation and some level of centralization in order to ensure that that decentralized vision can play out?
That's a great question. And I have been pro-regulation with regard to enabling regulation that prevents the fraudsters and crazy leverage players that burned this industry so badly in the last several months from regaining their position. One of the challenges is that the regulators, by slow walking the non-leveraged players, of which Custodia is one, they didn't give the market an alternative. And into that void of the slow walking that happened from the regulators filled all these fraudsters and, frankly, some criminals. And that's the regulators work both with action and inaction. And in this case, I think their inaction caused much greater problems. That was especially true with the SEC, which greenlighted the GBTC as the one and only way that folks could gain exposure to Bitcoin in their brokerage accounts for almost 6 years. And that created an incredible market distortion because it was a closed-end fund that ended up trading at a big premium to Bitcoin. That hurt retail investors, and all these leveraged Wall Street funds could come in and arbitrage that and pick off the retail investors. How was that good for the industry?
We often go from underreaction or too much hands to overreaction when it comes to regulation, when it comes to legislation. So what's the scenario where we thread the needle here and get this right so that the story isn't reacting to 18% APY promises that turn crypto into a Ponzi scheme and is instead giving consumers more power and opportunity?
That's a great question. And it goes back to really what the state of Wyoming special purpose depository institutions were designed for. This is something I've been working on for more than 4 years to create a non-leveraged depository institution that is subject to bank capital standards and bank regulations. All of the players in the U.S. crypto industry are not subject to those right now. And that's the challenge. I think they all ultimately will be required to be regulated as banks, and that's going to be good for consumers and good for the users ultimately.
Yeah, a lot of people want to buy magic beans. Let's see if they want to buy beans, even if they're good for us. Caitlin Long, thank you.
Thank you.
So a lot has been made about Ken Griffin moving his firm Citadel to Florida, in part because he wants to escape from crime in Chicago. And of course, that was not lost on a whole lot of folks that believe the titans of Wall Street get away with crimes every single day. Now, most see the game of fines, in fact, as some sort of a charade and allows individuals to not only be bad actors, but even on occasion be bailed out by Main Street. Now, I do want to say, I actually had to pay a fine one time in my career when I first started my company. I was told I violated rules that I didn't know existed, which I still did not violate. Nevertheless, I fought for 3 years, finally paid him $25,000 because it was holding me up from raising millions of dollars. Not sure what the fine was for, but I didn't sign off that I ever did anything wrong. Be that as it may, it is not even a speck in the grand scheme of things, folks. You used to see the fines that Wall Street has paid since 2000. Try Bank of America, $82 billion. JP Morgan, $36 billion. Citigroup, $25 billion. Wells, $21 billion. Deutsche Bank, $18 billion. Goldman Sachs, $16 billion. And it's still a farce because no individual pays for committing anything. I mean, you would pay more for a petty crime. That might be changing. Jury selection began today in the U.S. District Court around this precious metals trading scam that stretched from 2008 to 2016. Prosecutors say that J.P. Morgan traders spoofed the precious metals market, right? They would place these trades and quickly cancel them, but they drove up the price. J.P. Morgan, of course, is already settled. They've already paid their fine. So from what I understand, the RICO Act is being used, and I think it's great because that means maybe, just maybe, they're going to have some accountability, and maybe this could lead to changing the whole thing because the game is rigged, the rules are skewed, and maybe, just maybe, they'll make it fair. I hope Gary Gensler's watching.
We're going to a different economy, and we're going to be learning more about that as we go, but clearly we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
This effort. And China has big plans for this. They intend to seed their digital yuan into the global environment by giving it away to visitors at next winter's Olympics. When they arrive at the airport, they're going to get yuan digital wallets. They're going to receive digital yuan. They're going to use it throughout their visits to Beijing, and then they're going to take it back to their home countries. They see this as a huge advantage. Why? Because who controls the underlying protocols, who controls the underlying standards of the future of money will control the future of money.
Most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, you know I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids' books. You know I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate, not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis. Whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, we have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, so therefore we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, the 4th Industrial Revolution foundation is definitely here. Robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save the village. Part 2. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save New York. Long COVID Stories 3. Part 3. King Joshua and Grandma Tam goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.